Welcome, queens and bosses, to another episode of Get It Girl. On today's Girl Talk, we're going to talk about how to become debt-free.
And on the couch today, we have motivational speaker Sandra Gonzalez.
And singer-songwriter Kablito.
All of that and more on
Get It Girl!
Did you know 44 million Americans have student loans debts that total more than $1.5 trillion? Did you experience any? Yeah, did you experience any of that type of?
Not in the trillions. I don't even know what trillion means.
I know, but I definitely got into like credit card debt trouble in my 20s.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's, you know, they become so easy to use and makes you feel like you have money.
Yeah.
But you don't.
It's like fake money. It's there for you, but with a catch.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I didn't get credit cards until a couple of years ago, which I thought was a big blessing. Like, I don't trust myself with credit cards. But
you need them to build credit.
That's the thing. It's like you can't like buy anything, can't buy property, can't buy a car if you don't have any credit. So honestly, it's like they're like trying to really get us here.
Honestly, I don't understand the system here. I'm sorry. I'm like the credit card. I got it like last year, and to build, it's been super hard. I don't understand because every time I buy something with the credit card, I'm like, oh, let me pay it back right away, and that's like a big no-no. So
is that? I thought that was the point. Was you pay it right away? Yeah,
but it says like to wait a couple like.
At the beginning, you do want to kind of spend, and then, but you want to never make just the minimum payments either, though.
No, I was paying with the credit card like 2 days after because I get so nervous. I would pay right away, and that's a big no-no. So I'm not building.
I gotta pay mine quicker.
I know,
and I don't know what's worse: credit card debt or school debt. I was so thankful not to have I had under $10,000 of school debt, and it was just for like the study abroad thing I wanted to do. But I mean, people that have student debt now, I don't know if it's worth going to college, only because I loved college. I think being in a university, you learn time management, you get to explore different things. But I mean, Gary Vee now talks about all the time that it's like a waste of time, and really the system is so the system is about making us go work for the system. Yeah. They're not building entrepreneurs to go do and be creative. So even with school debt, I think there's the goods and then the bad. Unless you want to go work for a corporate.
Yeah, or you want to be a doctor or a surgeon or
but I think for the creative field, like you're right. Like I think that everyone's journey in the creative space is different. Like I got my degree for journalism, which has helped me, and thankfully, like I don't have any student debt. But if I did, I don't know if I would be able to agree that the degree was worth it with my, experience and everything. Yeah. So it's really difficult. And I also feel like no one really teaches you about this stuff. Did your parents talk to you guys about credit cards and debt and trying
my dad was always just like, save your money. My dad would put it like in this box in our house. Like, Dad,
that's big. That's so big.
They don't really teach it, and nor does the system. Again, the system is so not for us. They don't teach us in school how to manage a checkbook. My dad in college used to be like, you withdrew too much, and I'm like, oh, I guess it's just mathematics. But you're not.
Yeah, but not even like a resume. Like I feel like in school we never learned how to write a proper resume. Like the key one to get that job. It's like, you're going to figure it out.
Yeah, I definitely think that more classes need to be implemented for like real world things. But there's a couple of stuff, I guess, that you can do looking at this info here, it seems pretty. If you stick to it, you can get that debt down, like you can talk to somebody about negotiating a lower rate. Yeah. I guess, people got to be understanding, like we need some help out here.
You can do balance transfers.
Yes,
to a lower rate credit card.
Selling items. I'm all about like reselling, especially outfits.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Sometimes it's like $20 to $50 here or there, but that's $20 to $50 you can just send straight to your credit card.
And there's different apps. I use Poshmark.
Yes,
I don't know what you were. Yeah. It's so easy, and the shipping is already included in it, so they're paying that. It's just printing it out and dropping it off.
Exactly. And it's extra money that like you didn't have anyways. So why not just send it straight to like your credit card debt or your student loan debt, whatever, you know?
And we can't be lazy about that.
No, this one's tough though. Changing your lifestyle when you do have debt. Like I have a hard time with that, and sometimes I'm like, where does my money even go? And then I look back, I'm like, oh, it was the Postmates. It was the extra clothes.
Gets expensive.
But it's like we're here to live too. I don't like to live restricted, like not do this, not saving. And I'm like, yes, I need to save, but we want to be living free.
Yeah, well, living free and debt free. That's the goal, guys.
That is the goal.
Okay, so we will be right back with more of Get It Girl with a very exciting guest. Don't go anywhere. She is an international speaker, warrior coach, and retired Marine officer who empowers entrepreneurs to become warriors, not worriers. She infuses her 20 years of military experience into her coaching methodology and helps them develop a warrior's mindset. You guys, please welcome to the couch, Sandra Gonzalez. Oh my gosh. Wow. We do have a warrior in our presence.
Thank you. You have such an extensive background in so many different things, and now into public speaking. But talk about how you started with your first, your military experience. How was that?
So I'm actually a retired Marine officer. I served 20 years of honorable service, and it was arduous and strenuous at times, but I realized that my passion, my mission was to serve my country, serve other people. So it was in alignment with what I believe in.
So tell us about the program. What types of women or people are you working with?
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for asking me. I'm actually having a seminar at the end of this month. I would love to have you there.
Okay, field trip. Get It Girl.
Be so honored.
Where is it?
It's in San Diego.
And what does it look like though?
Yes. So the seminar is helping you unlock unshakable confidence, so you can take command of your life and business, because that's what it's ultimately about. It's catered to this ambitious man or woman. I coach women, but naturally I appeal to men, but it's these entrepreneurs, these men and women that have an insatiable appetite for growth. And entrepreneurship is not easy.
No.
It's it's like the battlefield, but without the bullets.
Yes.
And it's learning to be resilient and bounce back and say, you know what? I'm not going to be a warrior. I'm going to figure things out and become a warrior.
And especially since the women really have just joined the workforce in 1950. I've started my business 8 years ago in fitness, and as it's evolved, it's very hard because Latino culture, it's either you have your parents for you, or like my father that was very machista, he didn't want me to go in that field. He's like, go get married, have kids, and work in an office. Even though he wanted me to go to college. So it's really, really hard. But it's one of those things that you have to learn to fail, and then get back up with the same enthusiasm.
I love that you point that out, because that's the concept. It's learning to fail forward that strengthens your character. It's learning to fail forward that enables you to understand your self-worth. And that's ultimately what I do as a confidence coach. I change your relationship with yourself. I enable you, I coach you, I hold you accountable to go forth and do those great things.
So what's a simple session with you? The first basics.
So it all depends on that individual person and what that goal we might be working on. But most of it, I'll be honest, stems from self-love. So it's really helping this individual understand high caliber habits. So I have an e-course that the individual understands, it's all about these high caliber habits. What you do every single day that places you on the right trajectory so you can achieve that end result.
And do you implement fitness in this course?
Oh, absolutely.
You know that.
Yes.
Because fitness, I always say, in order to change your body, you have to change your mind, and in order to change your mind, you have to change your body. It goes together. And I know just me in fitness, as I've grown, my confidence has grown so much. People that watched me on YouTube 8 years ago, they're like, you're a whole nother woman. And it's just from consistently working out and then inspiring other people to do it.
Absolutely. It's, you're when you change your physiology, it changes your psychology.
Yes,
so it's important for a man and a woman, especially, to understand that and place herself in that right set of mind. You know, it's no, right now, you know, estoy un poquito cansadita. But I'm gonna push through.
You have to.
Because
No hay otra. Kobe Bryant had this amazing speech, you know, rest in peace, but he talked about the success comes from doing the hard when you don't want to do it. Because those days, it really builds a muscle in your brain, especially for business. There's times where I'm scared to take that risk, but because of the workouts that I've done, I'm like, go for it. It's gonna hurt maybe, but it's, you know, it's gonna make me uncomfortable, but you push forward.
But that's what gives you that competitive edge too, especially if we're talking about entrepreneurship. You know, there's so many people that want to succeed in whatever field they're in, but sometimes it does take those small decisions that really tip you over into the place that you want to be. Well, Sandra, we thank you so much for joining us. You've inspired us already just with these few minutes. How can people find you online?
Thank you for that. SandraGonzalez.com.
I want to go to your seminar.
I would be honored.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, guys, we will be right back here on Get It Girl. We're back on Get It Girl with talented singer-songwriter Kablito. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You're feeling alive. Thank you for presenting us with your time. You know, time is the most precious thing we can gift each other.
Yeah, especially as an artist, right?
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, let me take over.
This is our resident artist.
Yes.
Artifact, our resident artist and musician.
Yeah, I've been checking your profile, and I saw you released a song recently. Tell us about that song.
Corazón Partido.
Corazón Partido. So I wrote that late last year. I went through a really breakup. And I went to the studio like 2 days after.
Oh, wow.
I was a mess. I was like a total mess.
The feelings were raw.
That's the best therapy, though.
I was actually gonna like cancel the session, and then I was I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go do this.
How did you find your gift to be able to express your feelings? I mean, as it is just in general in our society, feelings aren't easy to just put out there. How did it first start for you?
I mean, it is like still scary. Like even putting this out, I was like, oh my gosh, my ex is gonna hear this. Like, you know,
like,
it's
so
definitely
what?
like
So what?
It's like a scary feeling to be like.
It's like you're not only vulnerable with yourself, but you're vulnerable with the world, basically. And I would be mortified if my ex knew like all of the feelings that go through my head sometimes. But
yeah, it's definitely a scary feeling, but I mean that is like the art within like making music. I feel like that's my therapy. That's how I get over stuff. It's just
and it's
writing about
interesting
it.
because every time you're feeling happy, sad, being in the studio, it's like the best feeling, right? Even though you don't want to, you just gotta get your ass there and you just
I'm like, this is what I'm here for.
because then the day after you're gonna be like, okay.
Totally. And like I love that song. It's like that was my therapy, but I can like listen back to it and like it still has that place. Like I can go back to it in a way.
Yeah, music takes you back to that emotion for sure. But I mean, expressing those feelings, did you learn with journaling? Like, how did you really get used to the dialogue? Because it's not easy to express your feelings, especially through music.
Yeah. I think, I've been writing since I was pretty young.
Okay.
Like I learned guitar when I was like maybe 10 years old. My dad taught me. So I've always been like just writing like throughout, and I used to journal a lot as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like a combination of those two things.
Definitely.
You know. Just
Now you
always
mentioned
been-
that when you were writing this song, you got to work with someone that you always wanted to work with.
Yeah.
But you've worked with, a number of amazing producers, Tiny. So who have you learned the most from, would you say, out of the people that you've worked with?
Everyone has something new to like that I'm learning from. Like, but I mean, just watching Tiny work is crazy. He's so talented. He's just so fast. Like, and he just gets it. Like, I'll be like, I don't have to explain. Like, I'm like, you're doing what I want. Yeah. Like, he's just.
You guys are on the same wavelength,
right?
Yeah, but also Cambo, who I wrote Corazón Partido with, like him and I have a really good connection, and as well as this guy, Samuel Karim. I have a new song with him coming out on this EP that I'm about to put out.
Ooh,
and
when?
I don't have like like a date yet, but we're working on it. It's coming.
Tell us about the EP. Is it still in the vein of this breakup song, Love, or what's behind the songs you're going to release?
So it's called Sentimental. This is the first time I say it out loud. It's called Sentimental.
I get it, girl, exclusive.
Because it's definitely like the most personal record I've written, and like this breakup was like a really big one, like for me, like it was like a 4.5-year-old thing. So I wrote a whole thing about it. Basically, it's just me like opening up about my feelings, which is something that we talked about. It's hard to do, and I'm an Aquarius. I'm like very much just like I look really tough, but I'm like super emotional. So it's about that. It's about just like opening up and just talking about like what I went through basically through this breakup.
Are there any features on the EP?
Not yet.
Okay.
There might be though. There might be.
What's your wish list for collaborators?
I mean, I got to work with Álvaro Díaz, who I love. I just put out a song with him on his EP. La Ciudad de los Niños Tristes, I believe that's what it's called.
Nice.
And well, I would love to work with Balvin Cortez,
Yes.
Cortez. My friend Setangana, I'm really hoping to work with him soon.
Cool.
The list is.
This is a long list.
It's a long list. We'll be here all day.
Oh
but
my God,
those are a few that I'm hoping to work with like soon.
And do you only write songs like when you're heartbroken, or is there also just other fun songs that you plan to do in the future?
Yeah, no, I write about everything. This just happens to be like what's happening right now.
Okay.
It's very present, I'm going through it, but I write about everything for sure.
What's your favorite thing to write about?
Love?
Yeah. It's something about love that can get us like...
Because everyone can relate,
Yeah.
Like even sometimes like I'll be writing a song and it's about one thing, but someone will like interpret it some other way.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, we have a ton more to talk with you about, so you're sticking here on the couch, and you guys need to stick here on Get It Girl, because we'll be right back with Kablito. And we're back on Get It Girl with the lovely Kablito. We had to keep the conversation going because your story is so interesting. Can you tell us about your beginnings and like how you started working in music?
Oh, sorry.
Yes. I know, there's so much to talk about. So I've always made music since I was like really little. But I mean, I like grew up in choir.
Really?
Like I was very Christian, singing in choir.
Much different than reggaeton, right?
Much different. Much different. My dad is like, what happened? What happened to everything I taught you, But here we are. Anyways, but I've always made music, and I started writing at a young age. And then I went to school for music. I studied music composition, and then just kind of like wrote some songs and was like in bands like as a teenager, and then a few years ago I started taking it seriously and have been just working at it really hard for as long as I can remember.
How was the transition from being in choir and Christian music to now doing reggaeton? Was that, were you always a fan of that type of music, or how did you make the switch?
I mean, like I come from like, I grew up in Ecuador, so I come from, I was very like a good girl, and like I was like playing guitar and writing kind of like folk music at the beginning when I was a teenager. So I come from like a singer-songwriter type of place. Like I'll just like sit in my room and like write on guitar. But as I like got older, like I got into like new music, reggaeton, and I moved to New York and just kind of like I used to live in Minneapolis. That's where I lived for a very long time. So when I was there, I was writing a lot of like cute indie music, I was like, there weren't very many Latinos around me, so it was just different times. And then when I moved to New York, I kind of got back into like my Latin roots and like kind of like made more Latin friends, and then like listened to more reggaeton, and it just kind of naturally happened that I just like picked up on all those things.
Definitely.
And your style is not like traditional reggaeton,
It's not,
like
no,
perreo,
no.
like
No.
it's very it's more like alternative, eclectic.
It is. Like
right?
I still feel like my melodies come from like a very like singer-songwriter like melodies,
That's
like
what it makes it unique, right? The
but
blend.
it's just like there's a reggaeton beat.
Yeah.
And your whole family supported you to do this music thing?
Yeah, I mean, my mom is always just like, do whatever makes you happy,
Sweet.
But she's very sweet. She's got my back for sure. Yeah, they they know, like, I've always wanted to do this. I think at the beginning I was like a bit afraid to like try it, you know, because like we were like immigrants and and you know, like we wanted like stability, and it's like a scary you know, profession to go after. Like being a musician, like you're like throwing yourself out into the unknown in a way, you know. But I think like she's seen how like I'm growing and like how all these influential people are backing me up, and I think it's just like made her like believe in it, you know. She's just like, you got this.
Yeah, I mean,
know?
it takes a lot of courage to just pick up and move to New York. That's like, it's like coming to move to LA. It's really difficult. And was there challenges though within you when you first did it? Like, what was the final inspiration for you to finally do it?
I mean, like, I just was feeling like living in Minneapolis, like, I wanted to make Latin music, and it was like a weird place to make Latin music, because it's a pretty, you know, not very diverse place, I would say, compared to like LA and New York. So I think I was feeling like an outsider for a very long time in this place. I just kind of ended up moving there, like, when we moved to the States. But I was feeling like an outsider, and I just like needed to be
like
surrounded
that spirit
by
guide.
Yeah, I was just like, I need to be like around Latin people. So I like went to my aunt's house and spent some time with her in Queens, and then just kind of was like surrounded by Latin people all over again, and that's when it all began.
Oh, so you had family in Queens already.
Yeah.
So that helps probably a little bit too, because imagine having to go out there all by yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I stayed with her for a little bit, and then I was like,
you needed
gracias. But I'm good. They were like giving me all these like curfews and shit. I was like,
no, sorry.
No, it's fine.
Tell us about the fashion. You're also a fashion model. Like, how do you blend those two together?
So I've always loved clothes, obviously. I think just like within the past year, I started doing more campaigns, and just like a couple weeks ago, or like 3 weeks ago, I finally signed with an agency.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's called Select.
Okay,
Yeah. So just started working with them.
Cool.
And I mean, I love clothes. I'd love to do something in fashion at some point, to like, even just like merch, like, or working, you know, with another brand and creating some stuff.
Yeah,
I would love to do
just
that.
put it on the universe. It will come to you.
It's already there.
planned.
It's already there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot more of you, I feel like. So definitely very excited for what's next.
I know. Well, sadly, this was all for today, but thank you so much, Kablito, for joining us. And thank you for our other guest, Sandra Gonzalez, for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on Get It Girl TV and LATV Network, and we'll see you next time.